All right, welcome to another week of fights in the Internet Championship Fighting. Coming at you tonight is one pretty hype card. Championship Fighting. Coming at you tonight is one pretty hype card. Let's take a look at this. We're starting with Dylan Audrey versus Dominic Lopov. Going straight into John Cage coming off a loss to Champion Dogu versus PlayStation Heavy Division new member, Dennis Hindo Malley. Coming right off of that one, we're going to have one heck of a fight with Jay Prince and Eric Young. And then we got two championship fights here tonight, main eventing and co-maining. Charles Brunson, the current new champ, fighting Chip as he comes to retake his crown. Then in the main event, we have Dogu facing Justin Desiohan. And joining you tonight on comms, as always, is your boy Kelvin Lamb and Mike LaFleur. We've got a special treat for you tonight. We got Dylan Audrey himself on comms, and we have the legendary Bobby Diesel.
How goes it, gentlemen? How goes it? We doing good?
What's up, everybody?
Looking forward to a good night of fights.
And a good night it will be. Tonight seems like it's going to be a great night for any fight fan, especially if you're new to the ICF. We have an astounding round of championship material here, from all the way from experience like Dogu with his high record to Chip, who has just been a champion since he became into the ICF. But preceding that, we will get into our first fight between Dylan Audrey and Dominic Lopov.
Alright, coming up first, we have Dylan Audrey, the current ranked number 2 PlayStation Heavy Division player, facing Dominic Artem Lopov, number 5, taking that number from me, by the way, in their second match. Now, Dylan, what was your game plan coming into this fight?
You know, I was kind of thinking it would just be more of the same. You know, I had a lot of success with the kicks and punches in the first fight, and as you see there, I kind of opened up with that side kick. I want to keep him at range. You know, Dominic's calf has got good power in the pocket, so you want to kind of keep him at range, pick him apart with the kicks. Obviously, deny the takedowns.
But you got that good takedown defense, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been working on the takedown defense. Shout out to Kip. He got my takedown defense good.
Oh yeah, the Chip School of Grappling.
Yeah, the School of Grappling, man. We all been there.
For sure, Dylan. And is that something you specifically camped for in this fight? Is that takedown defense?
Nah, I feel like my takedown defense been good for a minute. I was playing a lot of regs coming up to this fight, trying to just kind of expand my game. I didn't want to be too one-dimensional. We'll see how that works out. Sometimes it can be. There's that nice head kick. I can set that up, but then he ducks it.
Oh yeah, I think
The 1-2 head kick it down.
And just to show,
I'm surprised that takedown didn't go in. To be honest, man, great defense from you.
Thank you. Yeah. Again, I'm trying to keep backing him up. You know, I don't want to be the one going backwards. I want to be the one keeping the pressure on him, because when we just stand there and kind of point fight, you know, it could be anyone's.
Yeah, Dom's got good striking, but when you stand up, anyone can win.
And you see, I set up those roundhouse kicks with the straight kicks, like the front kick and the side kick, because that makes him want to pivot off on an angle, and that's when I'll usually slide in like a roundhouse and try catch him while he's sliding into it.
And you seem to be having success in this first round.
Yeah, definitely. I'm doing all right in the first round. That's a nice elbow from Dom.
He's
and that's
really
a nice one too.
You, coming in well.
Yeah. He's got good hands. He's got good hands for sure.
I think that my main takeaway so far along the fight, Dylan, is that while you're implementing kicks very well and being very rangy and landing some nice shots, you weren't particularly scared or worried about fighting in the pocket, and you were taking a pretty fair amount of damage, especially like right there going into the body knee, eating a lot of big hooks.
I definitely agree. Like right there, he landed 2 nice hooks, and I got a 1-2 back in on him. But You know, the damage is still there, and that could have been that could be maybe a little bit of, I don't want to say overconfidence. In our first fight, I managed to beat Dom. I don't want to say overconfidence because he landed a beautiful overhand there. I don't want to say overconfidence, but I think perhaps maybe a little bit too calm, not respecting his power enough, because there he's landing great shots when he gets into the pocket.
That's one thing that he's really good at doing, is like just catching you when he's doing these big attacks. Because I remember when I was fighting him, he would catch me in those jabs into the rear hook, and then he just takes me down and it's over. Like, he's good at setting up these takedown attempts and getting the grapple advantage in his favor. Dom. He's got a sense of urgency about him that I don't think I have in this round, to be honest. Even though I may be up, Dom is fighting with a sense of urgency for sure, and you can almost say I'm a little bit too calm.
You're right, but it is helping you with the stamina advantage, especially when you're denying those takedowns.
True.
So far, you're looking extremely good in this first round.
Yeah, it's competitive though. It's definitely competitive.
Yeah, I definitely would not write Dominic off in this first round. You know,
no way.
You could give the edge to Dylan. He's definitely implemented the kicks very well and landed some really nice shots. But Dominic is also landing some heavy shots, a lot of big hooks, and he's caught Dylan coming in more than once. So it's definitely been a very competitive first round so far.
For sure.
Yeah, there were definitely more than a couple of moments that this fight could have been like right there.
Another nice head kick. Yeah.
And a couple of these points where Lopov is just catching Dylan, just decimates that head health.
That's another combo you can look out for. You know, if you that's beautiful right there. When I'm trying to time that rear roundhouse to the body, he, instead of backing up and working into that, and he gets a nice takedown at the end of the round, he plants his feet and rips hooks. And, you know, you're always going to lose when you're in boxing range like that.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, getting ripped by a couple good hooks by someone that has their feet planted, especially while throwing kicks in boxing range,
you're in trouble.
It can turn a fight around really quickly. It's
sure.
definitely something that you have to look out for as a kickboxer.
And that seems to be something for Dom in that first round. He's not getting as many rocks as you were, but he's chipping away at your head health just the same.
Definitely. My head health in this second round is for sure lower than it was in the second round in our first fight, and that's worth noting.
I think at this point you have to take note of the stamina advantage as well of Dylan coming into the second round.
Yeah, well, I don't discriminate. You know, I'll work the body, I'll work the legs, I work it up top. I like to chip away at I don't headhunt, you know.
Were you aware of the stamina advantage coming into the second round? Is that a part of your game plan right now?
Yeah, I figured I was kind of focused on chipping at his legs, if anything, because Dom's got good leg kicks, you know, and I wanted to make sure that I was ahead on that. But look at him, he's tagging me there, and it's a nice rock.
Nice combo, great head movement by him.
Yeah, beautiful head
Also
movement.
great defense from Dominic there.
Very nice indeed.
But he's not backing up. I expected him to back up more. He's trying to push the pace. Like I said, he's fighting with urgency, and you got to respect that. You know, a lot of guys, when they see a lot of kicks coming at them, they like to try and back up and pick their shots, and they can be a little bit too slow about moving into the pocket. But Dom's doing a great job of not giving me too much distance.
Yeah, he's keeping it generally really in the pocket against you. It's working well in his favor.
Yeah, for sure.
Catching you in these combos.
Nice takedown from Dominic.
And
This is where I think he really shines on the ground, because he's got really good, kind of underappreciated ground game.
You're right, and his takedown attempts are definitely unappreciated as well, especially with how he's mixing them up against Dylan here.
But that was a great reversal, Dylan.
Yeah, man, I'm no slouch on the ground. You know, it's not always the best idea to take me down. I've been to that Kip school grappling. You know, I've been there and I've been putting in the hours.
Yeah, dude, you're almost to graduation.
True, man. I mean, between you and me, I might have subbed a certain Kip in the dying moments of the spar.
speaking of a sub,
Yeah,
tried one
it
there.
wasn't happening. I thought I might have been able to pull it out, but Dom's got good sub defense, so I let him up.
Yeah, that was a good decision on your end, I think. No
Yeah.
point to lose that position advantage or that stamina.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I'm confident in my grappling, but at the same time, Dom's got a bounce calf, get a nice rock with the straight there. But Dom's got a bounce calf. I'm going to be at a disadvantage from the get-go.
You're right about that. And even though you're pushing the pace,
What a
big knockdown
drop.
for Dom.
Yeah, man, I'm in trouble here.
Yeah, he sure to look dislocated there for a second.
Yeah, there could have been not just the head I got to worry about.
Yeah.
But you did a great
great
job
reversal
getting out of
for him.
harm's way, yeah. As
Yeah,
Bobby
man,
said.
but that was a big shot from Dom. That could have been it. And another.
He's Dominic again with some massive hooks in the pocket.
Just straight
And
boxing.
that's it. That 1-2 head kick, man. Off those hooks in the pocket. That's all it takes. Props to Dom. That was a nice fight.
Very nice fight indeed.
That was
Stayed
a nice
calm
fight.
through the whole thing.
That's all it takes, man. I'm throwing the nice kicks and I'm chipping away, but he was there in the first round chipping at me too. My head health isn't that high. He got a lovely knockdown, 2 nice rocks, and your head health's low if you don't duck that 1-2 head kick against the cage. That's it, man.
It's over.
I've
Yeah.
been
it.
killed by that so many times.
Yep,
like you said-
that's the way she goes.
That sense of urgency was just what kept him going, just to get you against that fence to land that big strike.
Definitely, man. You got to respect that. Look, it sucks losing. I wanted a title shot for sure, but you got to give him respect. A lot of guys, like I said, when you get rocked, it's easy to kind of count yourself out. But he didn't do that. He kept pushing forward. He didn't give me that distance with the kicks, and he caught me twice. I made that same mistake twice, back to back, where I tried to plant my feet and rip a kick, thinking he'd back up, and he didn't. He stood there with me and banged it out. So GG's to Dominic, and good job, man.
He did a good job in just getting to that point where he could secure out that win.
Yeah.
Even though in the early beginning round, in the first and second, you were catching him a lot, but he was doing just those tiny little adjustments to chip away at your health. And I think that's ultimately what allowed him to get the victory tonight. And now
Yeah,
we'll move
definitely,
on
dude.
to our next fight.
Oh, I am excited for this fight, boys. John Cage coming right off that loss to Dogu. I mean, it was a competitive fight. I mean, he was chipping away at Dogu's health, but he's facing newcomer to the PlayStation Heavy division, Deniz Hindo Mali.
You're right.
Yeah, this is a hyped fight, man. This is a real hyped fight.
Dude, I have fought Deniz nigh on 50 times now, and let me tell you, every single one of those was a barn burner. I don't think we've ever had a boring fight. This man fights explosively, and he just picks you apart.
And he's doing well to start, as he's picking apart that leg just from the get-go.
I mean, John Cage is no slouch. He has 7 wins and 4 or 5 losses, but all of those losses are to champs, either Chip or Dogu.
And the thing about
Yeah.
John Cage's record is he is just deceptively good. No matter what fight he's in, you never know if he's going to end it with a big shot. Even though he fights with his whole heart on his sleeve, he lands shots like that right there.
John needs to watch that rear leg kick from Deniz, though. I mean, he's quite telegraphed with it, and the inside leg kick too. He's entering the pocket with that leg kick from outside. See again there, it's telegraphed enough. John needs to get the check on that, otherwise he's going to be in trouble.
Absolutely, yeah, because that...
Again,
And right there, you
yeah.
get the leg knockdown.
Yeah,
He needs to be
yeah.
conscious about that lead leg now.
It just
Oh,
keeps
look at
getting
that. He's
chewed up.
cartwheeling just to show he can still land on it.
It's another
Again,
beautiful leg
yeah.
kick.
And I'm not sure why
Yeah.
he hasn't switched quite yet.
Yeah,
could
you
get
got to switch.
TKO'd.
Oh man,
This is the third knockdown. He's got to change.
and this is a poor representation of how this fight could go because oh man, John's good, dude. Oh, beautiful spin.
But
This
he's just getting
speaks.
torn apart by the
Yeah.
4-1 Deniz Hind O'Malley.
Yeah, Denise sprawls that takedown too. Denise is flowing, man.
He is. This speaks just to his skill that he's able to just do this at will to John.
Right. I mean, we know these
When
guys
he's
have a
having these-
history though. They've got a lot of spars together. I'm sure they're both familiar with each other's style.
Yeah, Deniz is a guy, he just likes to fight. He doesn't care what day it is,
Oh.
what time it is, or who it's against.
And the
And
spins,
he loves his
he's so
spinning
good with
elbows.
those. Yeah,
And then he comes out and enters with leg kicks from the outside.
Absolutely shredding Cage's leg right now.
Yeah. And look, now he's going after the other one.
It's the
Oh,
middle of
man.
the first round, and he's already screwed
This
him
is
at the
this is
leg.
looking bad. This is looking real bad for John.
But look at those slick slips.
Every time John's in boxing range, he's doing really well.
Yeah, John needs to not get discouraged here because John's got really good head movement. He's got, like there, that pull, that was lovely. He's got great head movement and even better boxing. If he can keep it in boxing range and impose his will, he could turn this around. But at the moment, Denise is
Beautiful
coasting.
slip.
Yeah.
I think this is the part of the fight for me where things get interesting. You see Cage's finally switched stances, and for some guys, like myself, in all honesty, switching stances can pretty much be a death wish just due to not being familiar with the control scheme swap to southpaw. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how Cage goes forward with that issue and if he can adapt well.
It's funny that you say that, Bobby, because I'm actually just after noticing something myself, and it's that Cage actually started in orthodox. So it's his rear leg and his left leg that's hurt. But whenever I've sparred with Cage, I'm pretty sure he's more comfortable fighting out of southpaw than orthodox. So maybe that was a strategy of his. Maybe he went into this fight thinking, I'm going to...
Oh,
Beautiful flying back. He gets a
And
flying
that's it.
knee.
This is
Oh.
Just
And it's over.
a deliberate, almost medical take apart of John Cage tonight. I mean, my God.
that was so
What-
unexpected.
What an entrance into the
Wow.
PlayStation Heavy Division. Putting the
Wow.
rest of us on notice.
I mean, Denise has a strong argument for a title shot. I thought that was going to be guaranteed to Dom after he beat me, but Denise just showed everyone that he wants it too, and he might get it after that.
I mean, absolutely. That performance was absolutely just astounding.
Yeah, that
I
was
mean,
something
he
else.
went in immediately just tearing apart that calf and that leg. I mean, by the end of the round, it looked like John Cage was fighting like Thiago Alves on two blown out knees.
He just crumpled after that flying knee.
It just ate away at his chin.
Right from the get-go, man, it seemed like there was a pressure and a pace that Denise was pushing that John just didn't seem comfortable in,
He was absolutely setting the pace that whole fight. He
Yeah.
set it, he kept it up, and he ended it. Man, Den's the guy. I mean, you've seen this fight. He lives by the spin. He dies by the spin. And tonight, it got him his win.
Truly.
Kevin with the hot rhymes on the mic. Look at you.
Thank you.
And that was such a great fight. And I mean, any fight fan would appreciate the total demolition that we just saw before our eyes.
It's definitely been two very high octane, exciting fights to start the card, and I'm very excited to see how the rest of the card plays out.
You're
Yes,
definitely correct.
Lightning pace for the rest of the card, man.
And we got one you're looking forward to next, Bobby, right? In Jay Prince versus Eric Young.
Oh, for sure. Two of my fellow Xbox brothers. As we all know, Jay Prince coming out of the BSD camp, very very skilled player, and
And
Eric
this was
Young.
his return
I-
fight to the ICF, right? Or has he had one before this?
Jay Prince, I think his record is 6-1 in the ICF. Former champion. He was one of the first Xbox champions, as a matter of fact, before retiring for a bit.
He's also, I think, the only member of the ICF Hall of Fame.
That's correct.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Bobby?
I'm gonna say it here publicly for when Mr. Brian Anderson gets back. Give me my Hall of Fame slot, buddy. But like I was saying, this is definitely a fight I've had my eyes on leading into the card. Jay, very skilled, pretty well-known guy, always exciting to watch. And Eric Young, I've fought him myself personally. Pretty good striker. He ended up beating me by knockout in the second round. So I'm hoping for a pretty fast-paced, just a fight filled with some two good old boys swinging and banging,
Indeed, and let's hope that's what we get from this next fight. And here we go, with Jay Prince and Eric Young. I'm expecting this fight to be fireworks. What about you, Kellen?
Dude, I'm thinking this fight is going to be non-stop action. I mean, we remember Eric Young versus Luke Libre, and that just banger of a fight. Man, I thought this dude was going to drown in his mask.
I did too. The blood coming off of that fight, for those of you who didn't see it, it was just full of heart and a display of chivalry that we quite haven't seen since from Libre in the league.
Exactly, and at the end of the fight, Eric Young and Luke Libre bowed to each other. They showed immense respect. And here we go with Eric Young now facing Jay Prince, who's been a little bit of a taunter in this fight so far. He had a very, very insulting dance at the start, wanting Eric to throw down.
You're right. I don't think Jay will be so friendly. He's coming in here to show that he can dominate the competition here. He is, like we said, a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse when you're getting ready for a tough fight and your opponent drops you with some silly fucking dance. It can psych you out. It really can.
I mean, listen, Jay Prince is coming back to reclaim a title that he never lost. No one beat him for that title. That one in his record is not in a title fight. So, some people would say that he's just reclaiming his rightful spot on the field.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah, we got a dominant champ in Mike.
I don't know, man. I might be making the comeback here soon, Mike, so I wouldn't get your hopes up too much.
Well, right now, Bobby, I'm on a work trip, so I can stay away for a bit and just see how the pot broils out. Now, let's just say you get to the top contender spot, and maybe we'll talk about this money fight you've been wanting.
It'll definitely be a money fight. Promise
Because
you
frankly, Bobby, if you want to get to that number one contender spot, you got to fight whoever wins this fight tonight, because this is who determines that spot.
I think O'Sheen's looking pretty good up there too. I gotta show some love for my fellow Irishman. O'Sheen's fought through a who's list in the ICF. Yeah. He came up short against Bobby then in that title shot.
I have to give the pride of Ireland, my boy, some mad props. He's definitely fought some true killers and been on a bit of a run lately. So it's definitely interesting to see him back in the title shot picture. It's kind of refreshing, but maybe we could see him fight the winner of this one.
And talking about to the title picture, Jay is doing great here in these opening rounds. Just putting Eric up against the fence. Sorry to cut you off, Dylan.
Nah, it's cool, dude. Nah, it's cool. I mean, you're right. Jay's working him. He's not really giving him much of an inch, especially in the first half of this round. He was pressure, all boxing.
Oh,
nice
beautiful roundhouse from Eric Young, though. Just landing perfectly clean on the side of his head.
I love that, man. That flush head kick. It's beautiful.
Followed right by that flying knee. That could have ended the fight there. Eric Young's probably not happy you didn't.
Jay's savvy to it, though, man. I mean, he wants to get back ahead in this fight.
Yeah, he's pushing. He's throwing, man. He's putting in relentless pressure against Eric Young that I don't think he's used to.
Eric's firing back with some pressure of his own. You can see that he's looking for those uppercuts and those elbows here when he starts to get in close.
And he uses those elbows to great effect, man. He's one of the. He's got nasty weapons at the end of his arms.
Yeah, he must know that this fight will slip away from him if he continues to try and play that counter game. You know, at some stage you got to get in there and you got to just throw hands. You got to keep it an even fight. I mean, he's got the stamina advantage, but you know you don't want to let your head health go too low.
Yeah,
Jay
touching on
Prince
the
is throwing too much here.
apologies, Kevin.
It's all good, man. I mean, I was just going on like what Dylan said. I mean, Eric Young has the stamina advantage right now, and it is significant for how far into the fight they are. I mean, Jay's just throwing. He's not stopping.
And Eric seems to be getting those counters in with those big shots, such as the flying knee.
He needs to be careful, though. He's pivoting a lot to his left. I've noticed he's pivoting to his left a lot. If Jay makes a read on that and he starts throwing that that lead right hook, he could get caught, you know.
Oh, nasty.
Full counter of the head kick there.
And just like you were saying, making these reads and these little adjustments to get in on Eric. Like right there, missing that
Another
switch.
counter.
Yeah, you don't want to miss with those kicks, man. You know,
That's definitely, that can definitely be the big downfall for kickboxers. I'm sure you can talk about that from experience as well as I can there, Dylan. But
yeah,
if your range is off with your kicks, especially, it'll typically end up being a rather short fight for you. So that's
for
something
sure.
that you for sure have to watch out for, especially with the switch kicks and like the rear head kick, for example. Because
definitely, man.
if you whiff on that out of range and you get hit with anything solid, you're in pretty big trouble.
Because these two guys are fighting different fights right now. He's very boxing heavy, whereas Eric is mixing in his kickboxing. He's throwing kicks like that spin there, and he's mixing in with his boxing. And you know, if they're both missing, but Jay's missing his feet, his kind of feeler jab and maybe a straight or two, that's less impactful than Eric missing a big switch or a big front kick or a big rear roundhouse. You know, so we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, well, Eric's definitely landed some nice shots. There's been more than once in this fight where he's whiffed on a kick pretty bad and gotten tagged immediately after. So that's something you have to watch out for sure.
But as of right now, he's got the stamina advantage, and he's looking good, man. Like, this is real-time clock. Going into the second round, having that high stamina, and he rocks him.
Elbow.
Yeah.
Now,
Man, those elbows are razor sharp.
I was wanting to touch on the elbows as Kelvin brought them up. That's not a strike that you see implemented super often, but when you're fighting somebody that can implement elbows correctly, it can be a pretty tough person to fight.
But then when you fight someone like Jay, who just straight up boxes you like that, did you see how low his block and head health meter went? If Jay had more stamina, he might have been able to finish the fight there.
Totally. Against the cage like that.
Look at that. Telling him to bring it on.
Yeah,
he's game, man. You have to give him props for it. He's definitely bringing the fight to Eric so far. A lot of pressure, a lot of boxing, and that's the kind of stuff that I like to see.
And he's showing no respect for Eric's style. Throughout this whole fight, you can see he's not touching the hand of Eric when he comes in. And that's, I believe, definitely strategic just to get in Eric's mind.
That's definitely something that you can do to throw some people off. You know, it gets some people rather emotional, taunting and not touching gloves and whatnot. You can play that to a good effect and really get into somebody's head and throw them off their game a little bit.
Yeah, it makes them overly aggressive because they want to finish you to make a point, you know? And it's something I do a lot in my fights. The only big risk with taunts is when guys throw kicks, like Eric Young. If he catches him in a kick when he's taunting, it's over.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught when you're taunting. Hey, Kelvin.
No, you don't, especially not with a crane kick.
Yeah, those crane kicks, they'll put you out when you're not taunting. So if you're taunting, you're in big trouble, man.
Yeah, there's nothing more demoralizing in the entire world than bowing back to somebody out of respect and getting front kicked square in the jaw.
You are absolutely right. But right now, man, Jay Prince is putting in a clinic with this distance management. He's able to really slip these switch kicks and everything.
He's definitely showing some really good defense, especially getting Eric to throw out of range on the kicks and countering really well. You have to give him props for that for sure.
And if you notice, like Dylan said, he's starting to make those adjustments, seeing that Eric is moving laterally, and he's using those leg kicks just to get in there and chip away.
Yeah, Eric's definitely fond of a pivot or two. I almost think
the real worry here is Prince's stamina. I mean, look at that. It's almost halfway down the bar. It's significant stamina disadvantage.
Thing is, it won't really matter. Like, it could be a different fight in the third round, but will it matter so much if Eric's head health and block is just shattered? If you're sitting there with about look at
There's
that,
another beautiful counter to a whipped kick.
Oh,
And a taunt to top it off.
he's mad.
I love a good
He's
taunt.
laying it on him.
He's just throwing. Look at that. Straight boxing.
Now, times like this in a fight, something you definitely have to keep an eye on as a pressure boxer like Jay himself is the stamina drop can get you in a lot of trouble if you're not careful.
Yeah, one counter and you could be in big trouble.
You can land a
Damage
very
zone.
nice combo and do a lot of damage and completely sap yourself of stamina, like right there. And if somebody picks up on that and throws a nice switch kick or can land a clean strike to the head, you can be in a lot of trouble very quickly.
You're right.
You
I
can
feel
That's where Jay
to
comes in
fight.
with.
like
That's where
Jay
Jay comes in with all of his switches. I mean, he
You're right.
changes up from jabs, straights, hooks, uppercuts, overhands. He mixes them up so well.
Great takedown defense from Eric.
And you can see Eric kind of just getting hesitant here, not capitalizing on those moments where Jay is out of stamina like that.
Another taunt. You love to see it.
I love a man who taunts. Oh,
that could
almost catches
Thrown-
him there.
Yeah,
Okay, so going into the third, I think my main takeaway, I would personally say that Jay's up 2-0 in this fight, but the stamina advantage is extremely apparent right now.
I think it's just about if Eric is going to take advantage of that advantage, right? Like, it's good having the stamina advantage, but you got to use it now. You got to
If you
push the
can't
pace in the third
capitalize
round.
on it, it really doesn't matter.
And there
you see
you
a
go, he
beautiful
takes it down.
A big takedown here from Eric. Let's see if he can do anything with it.
Eric knows he needs a finish, but he needs to change his game plan a little bit, which it seems like he's doing with that immediate shoot for the takedown. And using that stamina advantage to ground and pound him.
On the feet, it seems like from the last two rounds, if there's one thing Eric's really missing is some good head movement. When he's getting backed up against the cage like that, and Jay's just putting the boxing on him with hooks, straights, uppercuts. That's when you need to go back to your head movement and slip one or two or duck one of those strikes, and you won't take nearly as much damage. They'll gas out quicker, and you'll get a much faster reset.
And it also
something-
discourages them from throwing that again, because if you catch him in
Yeah.
a slip straight in the middle of that big combo, like
Yeah.
Bobby was saying earlier, it'll mess up their day.
Yeah, and Jay's got low stamina. That would be the perfect opportunity.
You're right. Though if you're noticing what Jay was doing on the ground there, he was faking with that lead hand punch so that he could reverse Eric. He's showing he's no slouch there either.
1-2 head kick.
This is
Jay,
it.
absolutely beautiful.
Classic combo.
Wow.
While the 1-2 head kick definitely got nerfed pretty badly a while back, it's still a really valuable tool if you have somebody's health and block pretty low, like right here.
Yeah, I mean, that's twice we've seen it tonight, right? Dominic's finish against me, and just there, that could have easily been it for Eric, but he managed to get back up to his feet.
Oh,
Nice
landing with
fight.
that beautiful flying knee.
And I feel like we're not seeing Eric attack the body enough.
He needs to take advantage of that stamina advantage. I mean,
Now he's getting
He's just
chewed
chewing
up.
that leg up bad.
Oh,
Another
another-
one.
oh. half of his body is just shutting down limb by limb.
Yeah, he's getting busted up.
Busting out those elbows, but it might be too late. Here you go. Get some distance between the two. Hopefully that reset will allow Eric to pull this out of the puddle.
That
Another
leg-
taunt. Let's go.
those leg kicks were such a great adjustment, though, from Jay. You got to give him props for that.
Oh, absolutely. Perfect reading on his techniques and his tendencies to just start throwing those.
And Eric just doesn't seem to be checking any of them and just getting caught in every single one.
He's too worried about his head that he's not really worrying about his leg or body.
True, that's true.
That can definitely be a way to throw somebody off if you have their head and their leg low, for example, or the head and the body. You can kind of exploit that if you get a rock to one or the other and kind of draw their attention from one of them.
Good denial by Prince. It's hard to deny those. He's no slouch on the ground, but he just likes to throw.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, here we go. Oh, straight to the nose.
Beautiful straight.
Wow.
And he drops Eric Young like a sack of potatoes.
And look
My
at that. Eric
God.
shows him the respect. He's like, well played. That was a great performance from Jay.
But no well played back. Just the
Nope.
throat cut.
Wow. That was very insane. That was such a high octane fight. From beginning to end, Jay was just trying to put it on Eric.
I mean, much like Dennis Hindomalley in the earlier fight. I mean, he just picked apart those legs.
Yeah, really. From the second round on, it seemed like those leg kicks were just they were the story of the fight, and obviously Jay's great boxing, but man, it just looked like Eric didn't really have an answer for what Jay was bringing.
No, he really didn't, man. He pulled out everything he used in the Luke Libre fight. The elbows that he just tore Libre's face up with.
That was a great fight.
He did a lot of leg kicks, but they got blocked by Jay, and Jay threw his own back.
Like Dylan said, it was those split-second adjustments that just ensured that Jay was able to take that fight.
Yeah,
What
for
a
sure,
return
man.
to the
If
Xbox
I'm Eric Young walking away from that fight, I think he should start doing some head movement drills. Try get that head movement going. Maybe tonight just wasn't his night. Maybe he was having an off night, and maybe he's normally better with his head movement. But head movement, I think, would help him a lot. When he's getting boxed up like that by Jay, if you can read some of his patterns and time a counter with your head movement, especially when his stamina is that low, you'll turn the fight around. Especially with that play style he likes, where he counters.
There's definitely a couple of things that he could have done a little bit better, but he also just fought a straight killer in Jay.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you still have to give him some props for showing up and putting up a fight.
And it was competitive. He got rocks on Jay. That wasn't just a complete steamroll.
No, there were moments that Eric Young almost won the fight.
Yeah, I mean, he dropped him. There was that nice head kick. There was a couple elbows.
And going to the ground, too, I feel if Eric would have tried to press the advantage on the ground more, he could have come out of this maybe with a decision win or some other outcome.
Yeah, we only really saw that come in at the end, but Jay did seem like he was skilled on the ground.
I mean, Eric Young was trying to bring it to the ground a couple of times, but Jay Prince has some underrated defensive wrestling.
Yeah, it's
hard
hard to
whenever
tell.
he wanted.
Sorry, Kelvin. It's hard to tell when you're kind of stuck in full guard like that. We didn't really get to see him work too much. We saw him in sprawl. We saw him in full guard. Those aren't the most powerful positions to be in from top.
That is true.
With that said, we'll be going on to our next fight, which will be Charles Brunson versus Chip TM. And I know Chip is really wanting to get this back on his terms and to get that belt wrapped around his waist.
I was talking to him after that last fight with Brunson, and I said, man, why did you keep letting him up? Because that was really what turned around the fight in Brunson's favor, is that Chip just kept letting him up. And he said, man, I thought I could outpiece him. I was getting him, I was catching him in these hooks, knocking him down. We thought he could just keep that momentum going, but Brunson stuffed it and got that nasty ground and pound KO to become the new champion.
And Bobby and Dylan, I don't know if either of you saw the last fight, but that fight, it was extremely interesting and technical.
Yeah, no, I saw that fight, and it was competitive. It just seemed like you guys said, there was moments on the ground where Kip got up, and maybe from his perspective, he's thinking he can outstrike Charles's jiu-jitsu vanguard calf, but I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to the rematch, is all I'll say. Because Kip he's a beast, man. He's a different beast.
He really is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just another story entirely on the ground. And I was surprised at just how good Charles Bronson was answering back with his wrestling against Chip.
You're correct.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't know Charles had such a good ground game. I kind of saw him as a striker. I haven't had too much experience sparring him. We fought in RFC one time, but it was a bit of a lag fest. So I didn't know he had such a good grappling game. So I think either way, we're in for a good fight.
Hands down, this is going to be one of the fights of the night, I think. Just a technical wrestling clinic, man.
That should
For
be
sure.
absolutely correct.
Coming into our co-main event tonight, we have former champ Chip facing off against the guy who just beat him to get that belt around his waist, Charles Bronson. And these guys have a high level of respect for each other's grappling. But
They
you
do.
know, Charles opens up with that takedown every time, and every time he gets it.
Yeah, just like the first fight, man. Right off the bat, he secures a nice takedown. You know, you wonder, is that a sign of what's to come?
And that first fight is very fresh in our minds. And
Definitely.
seeing a lot of similarities just in the opening seconds. Brunson going for this takedown. I believe not many players actually do that right in the opening. And it caught Chip off guard. Like it did before.
But Chip, the man he is, the slippery eel that he has become, he just reverses right onto half guard top and takes full guard.
Yeah, that full guard momentum transition to reversal is very well done from Chip. You see a lot of heavy ground and pound getting implemented right off the bat.
When you're on top too, that's just a complete guessing game. You don't know if they're going to go for that alternate momentum transition to half guard or the get up as well, or if they're going to go the opposite direction and try take your back with the transition to back sitting.
There's definitely some guys that can stop it, but there's so many options towards the end of that full guard momentum transition that it really is a pain to stop, especially if you're not like a top level grappler.
Definitely.
And Chip
Now, we all remember the last fight where Chip very oddly kept letting Charles Bronson up. I don't think that he's going to be letting him up this time.
No way.
One thing that's... Sorry, go on, Mike.
Sorry, but I was just pointing out that these takedown defenses are so on point.
I was about to say the same thing, man. I was about to say there's a big difference in Kip in this fight than the last. You know, last fight, Kip got taken down a lot in the early beginnings of the fight, but that's some good takedown defense from both sides.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Chip was definitely getting hit with some really nice turning takedowns from Charles in their first fight. It seems he's definitely improved this time around with the takedown defense.
Charles found a lot of success with turning takedowns in the first fight. And he defended against a really nice turning takedown from Chip in this round too. Here we go. It's a very familiar fight. A very familiar sight, actually, for those who saw the last fight of Charles Bronson just on top of Chip.
And that get up again. We saw it in the last fight. He goes for the armbar this time.
Brunson trying to play it smart, seeing if he can somehow get this submission off immediately.
Brunson's got a mean top game from top mount, though. If I'm Kip, I'm getting out of there. You know, you got to do everything you can to get out of that position because he's like Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold when he fought Weidman. Weidman was piecing him up the whole fight, and Luke got on top of him on the ground and top mount, and he fucked him up.
And it's just like that. I mean, with that last fight, he got him into that full mount position, and it seems like Chip just could not get out of it.
Exactly, man. That was a competitive fight. That first fight was competitive. You know, we were watching it back. You know, no one's sure of who's really up in the rounds. And then that third round finish from Charles, he put it on him. Top mount, ground and pound.
Nice
great
get
denial
up,
from
Chip.
Chip there.
And
Charles
guard.
pulls guard. He wants to keep this fight on the ground.
Even if he's on bottom, and what a slick sweep while the camera is transitioning.
But Chip reverses to take full guard top. Great denial. I mean, these men, they just bring each other to denial city. And here's Charles Bronson taking out his inner Eddie Bravo with that rubber guard.
And denies Chip's stack guard attempt. Very cerebral.
definitely been a lot of really nice reversals and denials so far in this fight from both men.
Yeah, this is
That's
super
just
back
what
and
you
forth.
get when you get
Once
two
again,
wrestlers.
a nice slip on the ground from Chip.
Mm.
A lot of really high-level grappling going on so far.
Here we go. Chip's trying to make it work on the feet. He was doing a lot of good work on the feet last fight.
Yeah, I'd
I
almost
think-
say he was getting the better of the exchanges on the feet in the last fight.
I think so far, even in this fight, Chip is definitely doing really well on the feet. He's landed some nice shots, but I think, in my opinion, I'd have to give the edge on the ground to Charles so far.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd have to give that edge too, as much as it pains me to say it. But
Another
great
really
takedown, Professor Chip.
That was so clean.
I'll open up with that
And
straight.
another reversal.
Reversal. They're everywhere this fight.
I mean, if you're a
again.
fan of grappling, this
And
is
another
your happy
one.
place. You know, this is spectacular.
I mean, this is just a mat clinic, man.
Chip said he was not going to let Brunson have this top control this time. And you can see he's really taking it to Brunson.
I mean, that was a close round, man. I mean, standing up, the game was Chip's, but I mean, on the ground, Brunson took the advantage there.
Yeah, the stats aren't always a great representation of how the round went. You know, I still think you got to give that round to Charles, but it did feel like Chip was clipping him on the feet.
He was starting to get into his usual rhythm towards the end.
But look at Brunson now.
He's using that straight arm very well.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like compared to the first fight, Chip is definitely letting his hands fly a little bit more so far.
Yeah, he's trying to get that nice KO to sell the Chip school of swanging and banging. Here we go, another turning takedown from Charles.
Charles lands that one.
I think what happened there was Chip was seeing that Charles was going to the same side every time. So what Charles did was he went to the exact opposite side, which quite isn't as quick. But if it isn't denied correctly, you go straight to the ground in that very unadvantageous position.
Gotta think Brunson was going for maybe a crucifix position, getting all the way to side control like that.
Pre-denies that full guard transition.
I mean, these boys they know how to grapple. I mean, it's a point we might have said a couple of times, but it cannot be made enough. I mean, these might just be the two best pure grapplers here in the ICF.
Definitely on the PlayStation side of things, anyway.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've fought against Charles Brunson and Chip, and as soon as I land something on the feet, I just get taken down to the ground and subbed. It's nasty, man. These guys know what to do.
And they're mixing things up so well. But Chip with that back sitting tape.
That's a hard one to land.
Yeah, truly.
And he takes the backside. Here we go. Last fight, he would have let him up, but not this time.
Back in the back sitting to top mount.
Yeah, I think Chip's starting to understand that he can't avoid this fight taking place on the ground, and you see there he's okay. It seems like he's more okay with that now. He's like, all right, I'll fight fire with fire.
And in this fight specifically, he's denying those submissions a lot more.
But Charles
Brunson's going wild with those last fight.
So
Here we go.
Reversals.
Gets back up on the feet. Oh, some nasty knees in the clinch and the uppercuts for Brunson. Oh, man. Now the turn and takedown. He finds great success with those, man. I mean, they're just not getting denied.
That definitely seems like one of his main weapons so far in this fight, and their first fight, as a matter of fact.
Dylan, how would you score this round so far?
You know, man, I think I'm leaning to Brunson. You know, it's competitive, sure, but I'd almost go as far as to say Brunson's grappling looks better than it did on their last outing. And And I think he's having better success in striking too. But as I say that, Kip's landing good shots against Cage.
And he's just boxing him right here.
Yeah, well, it's definitely been a pretty evenly matched fight. I'd also have to give the edge to Charles here. He's been doing some really beautiful work on the ground.
I mean, even if Chip is having a slight advantage.
Sorry, Kelvin.
Oh, it's all good, man. No worries.
He seems to start a little quicker though, right? Like Kip seems to kind of come into his own in the later half of the rounds, and Charles does seem to kind of start a little quicker maybe in the early half of the rounds.
He's for sure brought the fight to Chip rather quickly, right off the jump. While Chip seems like he's just now starting to get into his flow as we're got roughly a minute left into the second round.
And Brunson with that pull into the back sitting position. And now he's wailing away.
Eats entirely through Chip's block there. This isn't a good position for him. But low stamina, Chip might be able to reverse here.
I would have liked to see Chip do something more with Brunson's stamina that low. You saw Chip did have that rolling knee bar.
I'm surprised he didn't go for that though.
I am too, because the position that he was in, if you're the person on top, you definitely have to be careful. That's not, you don't want to throw ground and pound from there, just willy-nilly, because if you sap your energy out, somebody can hit you with a knee bar, and you're in a lot of trouble really quickly.
But here we go, at the end of round 2, Chip ends up on top. But, I mean, score-wise, I might have to agree with the point you guys made earlier. It might be another round for Brunson.
I would personally have to give that one to Brunson.
I mean, even if Chip is finding good success on the feet, he's not quite getting the stuns and knockdowns he needs to equalize the control time and submission attempts that Charles bring into the ground.
You're right, and if this were to go to a decision, Brunson is the champion. He's favored here. Chip needs to push it.
Yeah, I think I respect what Chip's doing in pushing the pace a little bit on the feet and trying to create openings for himself as he gets that nice reversal. But where Kip is best in striking is when he's letting his opponent come to him. He does a great job of managing the distance and ranging his opponent out and making them miss and punishing them then for it. It's interesting to see him take this different approach.
It's very interesting, but it could prove to help Chip in some aspects. Though you're right, he is more stylized around that patient type of play. And we did see in that first fight that it was working for him.
Definitely.
But it didn't quite work for him all the way to the end. I mean, he did lose. So maybe he's thinking if he changes up how he approaches the stand-up, it'll throw Charles Brunson off his rhythm. So he's trained for the same way that he trained for the last fight, knowing what he did.
Definitely seems like maybe he thought that a change of style would help him. He's definitely brought the fight to Charles a lot more this time around. Very pressure heavy with the striking compared to the first fight.
And he's really letting him show off his grappling skills this fight too. Because Chip was oddly enough not really grappling a ton against Brunson, mostly just using it to take guard.
A lot of really beautiful.
Oh no, this is looking bad.
This could go in.
I think
There's
this
no
really
stamina. He's just pulling Chip's throat into his foot. Oh man.
Chip's eel blood is not helping him here.
He's showing off some really impressive submission defense despite being at a massive disadvantage, but I think this is it, fellas.
It is. It just wasn't enough.
And he goes unconscious. Ref, pull them off of each other. This man is dying. He's unconscious.
Oh my, wow. That is sad to see. But it's happy in Charles Brunson's mind.
What a great defense for Charles Brunson.
Definitely a very impressive first title defense for Charles. You have to give him mad props for that one.
Definitely, man.
To put out such a good grappler in such a way is astounding.
And yes, let's look at that again. Just look at how this just proceeded. And Chip showing the heart of the champion he was. Just refusing to tap.
Well, I think in Charles's case, he's definitely boosted his stock a lot by effectively out-grappling one of the best grapplers in the ICF.
Wow, absolutely. I mean, two third round, two finishes though. He's finished Kip twice now by sub and by knockout. I mean, yeah, he's definitely put a statement on who's the best grappler on the PlayStation side of things.
I mean, Bobby, I know you and Charles Brunson have a bit of a tumultuous relationship. What do you think about that defense?
Yeah, as Dylan and I touched on during our last recording attempt, despite my love for my fellow Romanian brother Chip and my immense hatred for Charles Brunson, I have to give him mad props. He's putting out a dominant champion as Chip the way he did the first time around, and just comes up his first title defense, shows some beautiful grappling, and finishes Chip again. So I think he's definitely lived. What's the word? He's definitely proved that he's the best on the PlayStation side. So
Yeah,
I have to give him a big thumbs up for that.
I think you're dead right, Bobby. I think he's undisputed now. You know, there's no doubts. Nobody can call that first fight a fluke anymore. Although I doubt anyone was. Charles Brunson's the real deal. He took out a dominant champ twice, back to back. Now, you know, you can only be excited for what's to come for Charles.
You know what a lot of people say? You're not a real champion until you defend your belt at least once. And Charles
Right.
just went out there and did that against somebody as talented as Chip. So he's legit. He's here, and it's going to be interesting to see how long his title reign can be.
It sounds like,
Definitely.
Bobby, you may need to go get a PlayStation.
The PlayStation debut might be coming soon, boys. And you heard it here
Oh,
first.
I would
Bobby
love
Diesel,
to welcome you.
ICF triple champion. It's coming.
The question is which division is it going to be? You thinking heavy or light?
All of them.
All of them.
All of
Good
them.
answer.
Well,
That's
don't
such
worry.
a
When you
Bobby
come up to
response.
heavy, Bobby, Dylan and I will welcome you.
There's definitely some interesting fights there for me. A lot of money fights, you know. So it might be coming soon. Keep your eyes peeled, everybody.
And with that said, we're going to get into our main event versus Dogu Altunay versus Justin Desiohan.
And we're going into the main event with our current PlayStation Heavy Division champ, Dogu, telling Justin to hold the phone. He's busy here. Instant show of respect, though.
Yeah, he's got work to do.
Now, Justin's a really good grappler, and that's not a realm we've really seen Dogu be forced down into a whole lot so far.
Yeah, this is interesting, man. I've fought both these guys, and, you know, in my opinion, I think Dogu's got the best boxing in the PlayStation divisions. But that being said, Justin is no slouch on the feet either. I mean, he's got a mean grappling game, especially in that crucifix position. But
Good takedown defense right there, too.
definitely. But Justin does a good job of getting on the inside of the pocket, ripping combos when he gets in on the pocket. But you know, up against someone like Dogu with crisp boxing, you know, you got to be careful.
I mean,
Really do.
in the pockets where he really has to be, his calf is so much shorter than Dogu's. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got to get him down. He's got to stay in the pocket.
It's more beautiful takedown defense here from Dogu.
Dogu has great takedown defense. He always has. Although it seems like Justin really is trying to go for something a little unorthodox here. He's backing up, just coming in when he needs to.
He's keeping distance really well for a shorter fighter. Oh, catching that leg, attempting the trip. More takedown defense from Dogu. Man.
Yeah, I think Dogu can provide a really bad stylistic matchup for grapplers. You have a extremely high level striker, with some really phenomenal takedown defense, and you know, he's not somebody you want to stand and trade with, especially if you're running a grappling build. And like there, if he can stuff your takedowns, you're pretty much at a loss. So it'll be interesting to see what Justin can do as the fight goes on, and see if he can get some kind of game plan implemented that'll work for him.
And you gotta think that Justin's just trying to just find one way to get through that armor Dogu has for takedowns. Just throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks, because he's just trying to get through that initial gate.
I think he needs to work the hands a little bit more. I think he's being too obvious, but that's a nice takedown. That's a really
There
nice
we
takedown.
go. And look at that, he magically grew a few inches. What a man.
Dogu being very intelligent with that sprawl transition.
Yeah, he wants to stay away from that side control into crucifix position as much as possible. You know, it's everyone knows what Justin's trying to do when he gets on the ground. He's trying to get you into that crucifix. That's his bread and butter.
I mean, that's the most dominant position you can be in as a wrestler.
Definitely.
Good side control take there.
Good stand up from Doggu there. Showing some nice patience on the ground.
Yeah, he let that GA build up and went for that reversal instead of just going for the get up.
Now, Doggu's definitely seemed to tone back the pressure on the feet a little bit, but he's still definitely tagging Justin with some good stuff, ripping some good combos.
Nice head movement from Dogu after getting tagged with that rear head kick.
He has some of the best that we've seen in this division. And these spinning side kicks are working really well to keep this distance management.
Oh, nice lead hook from Justin there.
Some nice work in the pocket from Justin, landing some pretty heavy shots on Doggu there.
And he's a good boxer.
And once again, to bring up the fact, you really have to be careful as a striker throwing kicks, especially in boxing range, because you can get ripped with some really heavy shots.
Yeah, especially against a shorter, powerful guy like Justin. You know, he'll land bombs in the pocket if you let him.
He's doing great work with his jab in this fight too. Not a whole lot of people really take advantage of it.
Yeah, the jab is most definitely a really underrated tool. You know, a lot of people don't implement it very well, but it's a game changer if you can use it correctly.
And the slip hook from Dogu just keeps catching Justin.
He's using that spinning back kick very well. He's keeping a lot of space with Doggu is between him and Justin.
But Justin right there just closing the distance, backing off a little bit.
And you notice that lead leg of Justin, its health bar is noticeably decreased even in the first round.
Yeah, he's definitely ate some really nice leg kicks from Doggu there.
Dogu really likes that inside leg kick into straight combination when he's trying to enter the pocket.
That's beautiful rock.
Yeah, that's crisp boxing.
You gotta think that stun just won Dogu the round right there. That was a very even round prior to that.
Yeah, well, it definitely wasn't a runaway. I'd have to give Doggu the edge for that first round for sure.
If he hadn't landed that stun, I think it would have been scored for Justin for those takedowns. But
once again, that spinning back kick. He's working that spinning back kick so well so far.
And these three pieces just keep finding a home on Justin's face.
Oh, beautiful jumping crane kick.
You gotta be careful of those. I mean, a lot of people load up on those crane kicks, but Dogu's not one of them.
He's very methodical with how he deploys those.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, in one of our previous fights, Dogu does a fantastic job of breaking his opponent's rhythm. Just when Justin starts to tee off or gain a little bit of momentum, Dogu works that straight or that lead hook really well into kind of just stealing all that momentum away. But lovely back
from Justin.
Yeah.
He takes the back here.
Nice denial.
Great
Good
denial.
deny. Oh wow, and the flip to side control. We know what's
you know what he's looking for.
Be careful here.
All this is not good for Dogu.
And a denial.
Great
Wow.
denial. Stamina's going down. Elbows.
Another one.
And with denials like that, you know Dogu is starting to panic.
He needs to be really careful, and he's out.
His belt is slipping off of his waist right there, but he's able to get out of it.
He seemed a bit panicked there for a moment with the transition attempts, but very methodical like always. And he eventually got out, so you have to think he's feeling a little bit more confident on the ground now after that.
He's certainly catching his breath right here. Reevaluating exactly what he needs to do on the ground and how he can win this fight.
Well, I think at this point, you have to think about what's going through Dogu's head right now. You're getting out grappled, and sometimes as a striker, you're facing a really good grappler. You can look at the clock, and it's a bit demoralizing. Seeing that, sometimes there's a lot of time left in the round, and you can kind of let that get into your head, throw you off your game. But Dogu's not letting that happen here.
Another takedown attempt. Oh,
Some more
he's
beautiful
not able to
takedown
get
defense.
it.
Yeah, if Justin wants to get this fight to the mat, beautiful rock.
uppercut.
I love seeing Dogu not break immediately after the takedown defense. You know, a lot of people, I'm guilty of it myself, after getting the takedown defense or the takedown denial, they'll just straight break and not bother throwing anything in the clinch. But Dogu's definitely implemented that well. He's landed some nice stuff.
So we just passed the halfway point in round 2. Mike, what do you think about this fight so far?
So far, it's a very technical bout. We've seen Dogu, I believe, for the first time in a while, get that deer in headlights moment. Oh, wow. Wow. What an amazing takedown there.
And side control as well, though Dogu managed to get back to half guard there. And full
I mean,
guard.
you don't see a whole lot of people follow a leg lock with the takedown.
Oh, no. It's definitely a bit unorthodox.
It was
You
just
know what?
so
It worked.
perfectly timed.
Bit odd seeing Dogu attempt the full guard momentum transition in the back sitting. You'd have to think that he's prioritizing getting up and especially keeping Justin out of side control.
I think he might have been trying to get to that position so he could just do an immediate get up.
And Justin
Yeah,
being
he might-
patient here.
Right back to full guard. I mean, this is really the most advantageous position for the bottom guard.
Yeah, like you said there, Kelvin, he manages to get up from bottom full guard. Get a lot of options, you know.
Another leg kick check. From Justin.
Yeah, he's starting to check those leg
Nice.
kicks.
I mean, he's got to start checking him at some point.
Beautiful combo in the pocket from Dogu there to get the rock.
Yeah,
That's
when
worked
when
a few
when
times.
Dogu plants his feet and rips, if I'm Justin, you just gotta get out of there. You know, don't try and trade with him. You're gonna lose. You know, Dogu's too
gotta
clean,
watch-
he's too crisp.
Yeah, Justin's definitely not finding much success on the feet. So
You're
I think
right
that he
there.
needs to stick to grappling because at this point in the fight, at least in my opinion, Justin's very clearly winning the grappling exchanges by a pretty wide margin. So I think that he'd want to stick to the game plan and what's working for him going forward.
Yeah, I think he definitely wants to get Dogu into that. He gets a takedown there. He wants to get Dogu into that side control position, but it might be more beneficial for him to just, I hate to say it, but just kind of lay on him a little bit. You know, hold him down, get some control time. You know, sometimes that's what you got to do to take a round because he clearly has the ability to.
Yeah, well, it may not be the most exciting thing to watch from a fan standpoint. You're in there fighting for a title. You know, you have to do what you got to do to get the win.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, end of round 2, gentlemen. I'd like to hear all your takeaways from that, how you guys are scoring this and whatnot.
Of course.
I
it's
think
fair.
Dogu's up too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd give Dogu 2 as well, because he's just stealing these rounds away with those stuns. He's able to piece Justin off his pocket.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely agree on Dogu being up 2-0 at this point, but I have to give Justin a lot of props. He's done a lot of damage and really good work on the ground so far this fight.
I mean, even though Dogu's up 2 rounds, they were close rounds. Those are 10-9s.
Yeah, there's definitely no runaway here. It's not a master class from either side. It's
I don't know how judges can
very
be.
tightly contested.
That was really nice.
Beautiful
from Justin.
reversal there.
Beautiful reversal.
Yeah, pulling guard in an MMA fight, you know, it's not always advised. In fact, it's usually frowned upon, but Justin showed that you can make it work.
Justin is very unorthodox with his grappling, and it seems to be getting him into these places where he's in an advantageous position.
Here we go. Dogu with that veteran mentality, immediately getting out of side control when Justin got in there. He wants no part of being in a crucifix again. Great
Very
reversal.
Very well done from Dogu.
Yeah, here we go. He's laying on him and praying just a little bit, but lets him get up.
Those
Another
trips
take.
are working for Justin really well as the fight
Yeah.
continues to go on. It seems
Yeah,
like he's deviated from your normal single and double legs.
I think
Yeah,
that's
he's not going for the turning takedown as much anymore, and I think it's throwing Dogu off.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it is. Dogu seems to be denying in one of those turning directions, like Dylan said, and that's why this body lock trip animation is coming into play so much.
And Justin was keen to what Dogu was trying to do there, let the GA build up and go for that reversal, and he got the denial, but Dogu's back to his feet now.
It'll be interesting to see if Justin tries to backpack here once more.
Uh-oh.
On here.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Don't worry, this is a veteran move. This is a cha-cha slide.
Yeah,
You see,
interesting
Justin's
tactic from
just
both
tiring
sides.
Dogu out here.
Yeah, let's give a quick shout out everybody to EA Sports for this immaculate gaming experience that we're being provided with here.
Yeah, truly.
Oh, yeah.
Just competitiveness at the highest of levels, you know, it's spectacular.
I mean, when I watch MMA, I want to see the two fighters dance together.
I'm just in awe here. I'm at a
Wow.
loss for words, honestly.
Wow. Look at how Dogu shuffles his feet. I mean,
That footwork is
Mesmerizing.
astounding.
these boys, they just wanted a break for a second. The action was getting tense. Emotions were high. This is a title fight after all.
and you need breaks like this in a title fight. You know, you don't want those nerves getting to the better of you. So this is a good chance for both guys to really reset, you know, and get familiar with each other. They're real close right now.
Yeah, they just get a feel for each other's rhythm. But I think, maybe there might be an ulterior motive. I think Dogu here might be trying to get up some static electricity by dragging his feet along
true.
the floor. here.
That's true.
So when
That's
he
true.
shuffles,
Justin might have started some consensual humping and a little bit of dancing to throw Dogu off of his game a little bit.
Here we go. We're looking at the stats here. It doesn't seem to be really counting the whole lot of control time.
Unfortunately, we can't see Justin's face here, so we don't know what he's saying to Dogu as he keeps dragging him into this position.
You imagine they're talking to each other here, though, right?
I'm sure Justin is most likely speaking just whispering some sweet nothings into Dogu's ear as this fight goes on.
He's saying, "I've got you right where I want you. I'm gonna
Yeah,
do this,
this
for
is
three
the-
more rounds."
This is the perfect opportunity to get into his head, right? I mean, he's
For
he's
sure,
right there.
For sure.
I mean, he has Dogu so panicked, all he can do is dance.
Really? I mean, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm trying really hard to maintain some professionalism here.
You got to wonder what's going through Dogu's mind now, you know. And they break.
There we go.
Wow.
Beautiful
Wow.
break.
He wanted to
Wow.
get back
The dance
to the
break
action.
is over.
Wow, and a bow.
And
Wow,
the
they
bow.
both
Love to
understand
see it.
how enduring that was. Wow.
They have a deep, newfound appreciation for each other on the dance floor.
Once again, that spinning back kick that Mike brought up earlier, Dogu's implemented that really well this fight. He's landed it probably about a half dozen times at this point.
Yeah, and if I'm Jason, or Justin rather, you know, you could start making that read. Dogu likes to throw the jab out and oftentimes hit back
again.
the crucifix. Dogu's out though. Nice.
Here we go. Elbows from side
Good
saddle.
transition to now this time.
And you can't sleep on Justin's ground game. Even inside saddle, he is a nightmare to deal with.
Here we go. He takes side control.
Yeah, side saddle is almost like Crucifix's little brother. You know, I imagine Justin's quite skilled there as well.
Anywhere this man can throw an elbow is somewhere he wants to be.
You can see these little whelps appearing on Dogu's face. Justin's just putting in this little bit of damage to try and work that into these championship rounds.
Looking at these stats, very hard round to score, but it looks like the edge might go to Dogu. Just with a few more significant strikes and a couple more total.
True, but Justin did have a considerable amount of control time. You know, you can't ignore their interaction up against the cage there. So
That is true.
it'll be interesting to see how the judges score.
I'm sure the judges loved it.
So getting into the championship rounds here, I've noticed that Dogu still has a considerable amount of stamina, and Justin's health, especially his head health and that lead leg, are extremely low.
Justin's doing a better job of getting this fight to the ground, though. Now I feel like perhaps Dogu's takedown defense. He's like Mike was saying, that body trip, it's working wonders for him.
Well, I think while Justin, I agree with you there. I think while Justin, he's definitely still in this fight. He's for sure implemented the takedowns a lot better. He's getting it to the ground at will now compared to the early first, maybe second round.
He was able to penetrate Dogu's takedown defense. Here we go. Nice half guard reversal. We've seen that a lot tonight.
And the side control.
Both men waiting to see what each other's going to do.
It's nice seeing Dogu not panic there. You have to give him props for that. He's staying calm. He's not spamming any transitions right off the bat. So
He's got the mentality of a champion. You know, in these championship rounds, this is his home.
well, that's just that experience shining through. You know, he's been in that position. He knows what to do. He's sticking to his game plan.
He's boxing him up now.
Oh, for sure.
Justin's in trouble.
Justin just needs to
Dogu's
stay
right at
calm.
home right now, man.
Nice
Chopping
front
that
kick from Justin.
leg, boxing them up.
Spinning back kick once again.
You know, Dogu seems to be throwing those right when Justin is moving out of range. That's when they're catching him the most.
Pulling guard
Guard
back.
again.
Doing everything he can to just to get this fight to the ground.
He's definitely had a lot more success in these later rounds getting the fight to the ground whenever he wants to, compared to the start of the fight.
Go, the elbows are starting to rain down. It's strange to me, man. I mean, we're 4 rounds into this fight, and really, we have no idea how this is going to get scored. Either one of these guys has a claim to winning each individual round.
Yeah, this has definitely been a very, I wouldn't say even fight. I think that Dogu is definitely winning at this point, but Justin's not out of this fight whatsoever. He's had a lot of success with takedowns. He's got a lot of control time, and he's done some nice damage from the ground.
It's competitive for sure. You know, I think those first 2 rounds definitely swing towards Dogu, but it's been competitive. You know, you never know with these judges.
And the
right.
takedowns are piling up. It's just point after point after point for Justin. And get this fight down.
They are, though. I feel Justin needs to start working that leg or just getting in there, trying to push the pace on Dogu.
You see Justin pushing the pace right as you say that. He's letting his hands fly a little bit after the leg rock. He's doing some nice damage on the feet.
Yeah, he's looking better now, but I do feel like compared to Dogu, he's a little bit more one-dimensional on the feet. Like, whereas Dogu's got fantastic boxing, good kicks, good takedown defense, it feels like Justin still has a little bit of work to do when it comes to setting up the takedowns with the strikes. When they're in the pocket like that, 9 times out of 10, it does feel like Dogu is getting the better of him.
Justin definitely is a bit. His bag of tricks isn't as deep as Dogu's per se, but he's still in this fight, so I have to give him a lot of props for using what he knows.
And he's pressuring Dogu now. He's pressuring him hard, and he's finding success in it. You know, he's chipping away at Dogu's health now that he's not. Originally, I thought it might be more in his advantage to play the long game, stay at range, and try to get takedowns, but when he pressures him, he's finding success too.
Well, I think Justin's just a classic case of a slow starter, you know? We're at the point, we're in the championship rounds now. We're getting late in the fight. He's found his groove of takedowns. He's found a lot of success on the ground, and he's beginning to pressure Dogu on the feet, and he's landing some nice shots and doing some good damage, and I think that he's finally in that groove that he was looking for early in the fight.
And these men,
I mean, definitely.
They both have lots of stamina. I think it's about time that either one of these start emptying the gas tank.
I'm excited to see how the 5th round goes. Both of these guys do indeed have a lot of energy, and I kind of want to see both of them just let their hands fly and just 2 good old boys swinging and banging, you know?
Yeah, man. Like, you could be onto something there about
beautiful crane kick.
Oh
my goodness. Oh my goodness.
In the last 7 seconds of round 4, Dogu comes back and he gets a spinning heel kick to the
absolutely gorgeous knockout from Dogu.
I'd love to see it. That's the champ. That was a tough fight, and he still prevailed. Dogu's what, 10-0 now, or 10-1, with that one loss being to Steve Austin. Man, he got that loss back when he won the belt back, and I believe he's got a win over Steve in RFC too. So at this point, you're wondering who's beating Dogu. You know,
who's next?
I don't think anybody is. I have to be honest with you. He's been so dominant, and he's just such a high-level striker, and his bag of tricks is so deep that I honestly don't see anybody on the PlayStation side giving him a run for a while.
I don't know, man. I mean, we have 2 strong contenders for Dogu determined tonight.
That's
and
true.
Dominic Artem Lopov and Dennis Hendo Malley.
That's true.
There's some
Both guys
competition
look
there,
good.
but man, Dogu, excuse my language, but he's the real fucking deal. You have to give him a big thumbs up.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
we
he
we see
deserves
guys
all
like
thumbs up. But
we
I mean,
see
just
guys
as
who are
Hindo
under.
Malley, I
Sorry,
think
sorry.
he might present a good problem for Dogu. Because I mean, as you saw in this fight, he can get caught, and when he gets caught in these combos, something that Hindo Malley is pretty good at doing.
Mm-hmm.
It might just put his lights out. I mean, that's how he lost to Steve Austin with a slip uppercut, I believe it was. Knocked his lights out.
That's true. Denise
You
is
know,
very unorthodox. If there's someone who could catch Dogu off guard, it very well could be him.
it's something I
But,
want
you
to touch on
know,
real quick.
Bob could out wrestle him. He's a strong wrestler too, and as we've seen in this fight, Justin
Definitely.
did good
I-
work there.
I think that this fight could possibly help some of the other guys in the PlayStation division game plan for Dogu a little bit. You know, I want to give some big props to Justin. He showed up, got in his nice flow, and it was a really competitive fight. I have to give him a big thumbs up for that. He showed up and he did really well.
And I feel like
Right.
Justin could have chipped away more in those vital moments, using more of that stamina that he had built up to his advantage. But either way, it was a great showing from both competitors there.
Oh,
For sure. Or maybe a
I mean,
rematch
it was
down
a great
the line.
game
could-
plan
could
from
be exciting.
Justin, but an even better game plan from Dogu, able to survive that, change on the fly, and come out with the win.
Well, touching on what Dylan said, excuse me. A rematch is looking really interesting right now. You know, Dogu pretty convincingly won round one, maybe round two, and you know, it was exciting to see Justin get into his groove, getting the fight to the ground when he wanted, and starting to pressure a little bit. So I feel like if there's a rematch, Justin might implement his game plan from the latter rounds in the next fight, and you know, we could possibly see a different outcome. You never know.
A rematch would be very interesting. I agree with you there.
It would. And speaking of matching, what do you guys think of the rest of the card and where all these fighters are going to go from here?
That's a hard question to answer, man. I don't know.
You know, I think the PlayStation Lite division is in a nice spot that it's quite linear at the moment. I feel like it's established. Charles is champ. Kip needs to go out there and beat another top contender or two to really warrant another title shot. I think Hussein is a pretty clear next title challenger for Charles. It's with the Xbox and the heavy divisions that it's hard, man. I mean, we've got
Xbox is up in
Dominic.
throws right now, man.
Yeah, we've got Dominic and Denise, who are both arguably deserving of a title shot against Dogu. In the Xbox side of things, we've got Jay, we've got Oshin, you know, we've got I mean, Libre is just coming off a loss, but you know, there's a lot of top guys in there.
We're kind of having the UFC lightweight division problem.
Yeah,
There's so many killers. There's so many guys that are deserving of a title shot, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of fights shape up in the ICF here in the near future.
for sure. We've got an exciting couple of cards ahead for us.
And this whole card has absolutely just delivered. All the way from Dylan Aldrich to Dogu.
Top
Yeah,
to bottom, this was just full of bangers.
Big props to everybody that fought on here. You know, every fight was a banger, and I've had a great time watching and calling every one of these fights from start of the card to the main event.
Absolutely, we got 5 finishes tonight. You can't ask for much more. You know, if you're a fan of the ICF, you're a fan of these guys tonight. You know, you can only be excited for what's to come.
Oh, for sure.
And what's to come, man, you gotta keep your eyes out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to hear our weekly cards. Watch our killers just fight each other. Follow us on Twitter at ICF Fight League for some updates. And if you think you can get these boys, if you think you can beat us, well, come on down to the Discord and we'll get you a fight.
Thanks everyone for showing up, and we thank all our competitors. This has been a great week for the Internet Championship Fighting League, and we'll see you all next week.